Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my man Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we've got an 11-game slate to end this work week for you guys tonight in the NBA. After just one measly game on Thursday night, that was pretty fun, a total of like 276 points or whatever. But we are happy to have a few more options for you tonight. In this one, we're bringing you the Pellies, looking to take advantage of the woeful San Antonio Spurs in Texas tonight. Also have another game video up and our player props as well, so make sure to like and subscribe to that page. We're coming at you guys each and every weekday of this regular season. Also want you to head to thelines.com. We've got our great written content up there for you guys. Nate puts all the game picks and our player props up there, as well as we have our odds finder tool that you can go ahead and use to make sure you're getting the best juice back across U.S. sports books on all these NBA bets you're making this season. Nate, let's go ahead and get into this 11-game slate and then talk Pellies and Spurs.
Yeah, tons to choose from tonight, but yeah, you mentioned it, that Spurs have been as reliable as rain there in terms of losing, so that's the game we're talking about here. Is Wizards -3 at Hornets kicks it off, Magic +10 at Cavs. The other game we break down, Lakers are +8.5 at the Bucks with a 230 total. Heat +7.5 at the Celtics, totals 226. Celtics are lighting up the world, so I think that over is in play even if Jimmy Butler's back. Nuggets -2.5 at the Hawks. The Raptors +1.5 at the Nets. Sixers +5 at Memphis. Pacers +5 at Jazz with Halliburton questionable. Rockets +12 at Suns. And then the Bulls +7.5 at the Warriors. 237 total there. I expect Steph to have a nice night. And then the game we talk about, Pelicans are -7 at the Spurs. Total of 232. I feel like we just did this and we got it absolutely right. The night before Thanksgiving, Pelicans were at Spurs. They were favored by 7 and they won by 19. And it was like the 10th straight game that the Spurs have been down by 20 at least at some point. Since they beat the extremely shorthanded Bucks, they have not even been remotely competitive. They've lost 14 of their last 15 with a -15 net rating in that span. And the Pelicans are real good, man. They haven't had everybody all together, it feels like, for any game. And they're going to be without Ingram and Herb Jones here, it looks like. But CJ McCollum's back. They won by 19 without CJ in that last meeting. They shot 57% from the floor and 43% from deep, which is real notable because without CJ, their offense went in the tank in the next game against Memphis, which is a legit NBA team. The Spurs are not. They have a 121 defensive rating in their last 7 here. We talked about some of the numbers they gave up to the Lakers there in the home. They haven't covered in 7 straight games, despite these spreads being pretty big most of the time. And when you have Zion in there for the Pelicans looking good, it's just like when it rains, it pours, right? It was a 1-point spread when they hosted the Raptors 2 nights ago, and they were up by 30 all of a sudden. And it's just like, wow, the Raptors are not the type of team to just have no defense. To call somebody unstoppable and just be suddenly be getting crushed. But that's what a Zion-led team can do, and everybody's playing off him, shooting like 80% from the floor in his last 2 games here since that loss in Memphis. And that's why the Pels are shooting so well as a team. And from the perimeter, you have 42% from deep against Toronto. And the Spurs 30th in just about everything defensively. They're going to be getting whatever they want. No Jakob Poeltl as well, right, tonight. So that's going to be even more easy money for Zion down low. As far as totals, I think all you want to do, again, is take the Pelicans team total. You do not want to trust the Spurs to come along because they're tanking better than anyone else in the league. And that's why they're 30th in our power rankings, but number 1 in our tankathon meter. And good for you, Pop. Hope you get to coach Wemby next year.
If he's still coaching, it's only because he's got Wemby next year. This team is still kind of underrated somehow. This Pelicans team, it's because they haven't had everybody playing together all season long, right? I think there's been 3 games now that CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, and Zion Williamson have all played together, and it was 3 of the first 4 games of the season. And since then, they have not all been in at the same time. It sucks, and it's annoying, but it's like, because we just really want to watch greatness like every night. And when it's like having Zion attached to two guys like CJ and Brandon Ingram, who can both play from pretty much any spot on the floor, and this dude loves to come barreling in like. It's set up perfectly, right? The 3-point shooting could probably be a little bit better for them, and especially because CJ's been bad this season from deep, which you actually expect to improve at this point. But he's back tonight, which is great. So you finally have him and Zion on the floor together. So far this season, 4th highest net rating, 5th best win percentage. So right there, it's very surprising actually to see that when you look at the standings, because it seems like we're not talking about them very much. Their defense has gotten so much better, and in some really crucial ways for them. They're limiting teams to the 3rd best opponent 3-point percentage, as we talked about, 7th in limiting free throw attempts, 5th in limiting rebounds, and 6th in limiting 6th in limiting free throw attempts this season, 7th in terms of makes. But either way, like their defense has come along this season in a way that, I mean, look, I still don't know if it means anything or not, but their defensive rating is way better with Zion on the floor now, in a pretty decent sample size of the amount of games that he's played so far this season, right? Like they're I believe 3-2. No, I'm sorry, 3-3 without him, right? And then they're about 10-5 with him. The defensive rating being 7 points better with him on the floor, still, or excuse me, well, it's not 6 points better, but it's still like that. That's a little surprising because they were worse without him last season, or they were better without him last season when he was on defense. They were better when he was not on the floor. This season, it's the opposite case. So everything that they're doing on offense as well, it doesn't need as much publicity in terms of the offense because it's what we expect from them. 5th in points in the paint, 4th in points per game so far. Their assists actually have the 3rd most assists per game in the league, or at least assist percentage as well. So they're sharing the ball, they're getting points in the paint, and their 3-point percentage is at least good. And on the road, it's actually a bunch better. 4th in 3-point percentage. They do score 4 more on the road than they do at home as well. Actually, Zion's played in a few more away games than he has home games as well. So there's some direct correlation right there. And I mean, the free throw attempts are huge, like 5 more when Zion's in there, 4 more on the road. And that's huge against a team like the Spurs, who, like you said, even when Pirtle is in there, they're a turnstile. I thought they would start getting better around the rim with him, being in there and maybe progressing back to his mean in terms of being able to keep people. Like right now, teams are shooting 66% in the paint on Jakob Pirtle when he's in there. That's good for the worst of all centers in the league right now, right? 66% in the paint. When you're going up against Pirtle, he's not even in there now. So like I would probably feel just as good. It's not like they're going to be better without him in there now that he's off the floor down low. At this point, Josh Richardson's also out. Jeremy Sohan's out. So I'm not really sure who's going to guard down low. I believe Romeo Langford is also questionable. Like, they're tanking beautifully. They're doing a wonderful job. They're actually still not really interrupting Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell's growth. It seems like they're still getting theirs and know that they're going to have some pretty solid NBA careers. In the meantime, they're just looking for that Victor Wembanyama pick. I finally got it right, so I'll continue to fade them 7 points on the road or at home against one of the let's say top 6 teams in the NBA right now in the Pellies. Yeah, it's too easy right now.
Yeah, at least top 6, like night to night effort. We don't know about the Pelicans in the playoffs necessarily yet, but they're a team to back in the regular season because their defense is fierce right now. I mean, and their depth is really impressive. They have a lot of like discarded guys like Garrett Temple, Willie Hernan Gomez that could really help other teams, and they're barely cracking the rotation for the Pels. But when they have Ingram or Herb Jones out, those guys can step in, and that second unit can pull away against the Spurs second unit that is just G League players. And Keldon Johnson, I mean, he might do a little bit better here tonight. I mean, there's nowhere to go but up after getting 5 points on 2 for 9 shooting in 16 minutes the last time these teams met. And in his last 6, he's shooting 27% from the floor and 82 offensive rating. So, I mean, maybe his development is getting ruined by being the number 1 option to a degree. I don't know if he's going to lose confidence at some point. But in any case, this is a tough matchup for him. Devin Vassell has played well against the Pelicans. So maybe you want to look at his props, and we're going to look at fading Johnson again, even without Herb Jones, because Trey Murphy, just playing really well alongside Zion on both ends of the floor. Larry Nance off the bench. Like I love the Pels. Willie Green, early coach of the year candidate, and I don't think they're going to take nights off here. I think they're going to pounce on the Spurs and get another easy win, just like they did a couple weeks ago.
Love Willie Green. The staff underneath Steve Kerr and company continues to flourish. Shout out Mike Brown as well, like the beam. This is an easy one right now, man. For us, as we said, I would expect this line to be closer to 10. I'm not really sure why it's not. There's so many guys out for the Spurs tonight. Like I said, Josh Richardson, also Dougie McDermott not out. I'm not really sure where they're going to score at all. I'm not sure who's going to stop. Like Zion and Joe Val are about to eat tonight. Let's just put it that way. It's going to be basically like they just are playing against a team that's just going to allow them to just pounce down the lane. I'm pretty much looking forward to all the Zion dunks tonight. Pelly's tonight, maybe some points, Pelly's points, but definitely Pelly's to pull this out by at least 7. So that's all the time we have for you in this one. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along with us as we come back to you each and every weekday this regular season. So until we see you next, happy betting.